Hey everybody, welcome back to Trinity Dairy. Don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe, leave a comment, all that fun stuff. And if you want to check out our merch store, we'll have a link in the description for that. Today is April 7th, 2025. Pretty nice out today. It is kind of a cold wind blowing, but it looks like spring is finally on its way. I think by the end of the week, it's supposed to be up in the 60s, so it probably won't be too long that we'll be into tillage. So we're going to swap some tractors around here. I got the Oliver. Jordan's going to fire that up in a minute, and we'll get it off this chopper box. I got a load of manure in the manure spreader, or probably about a half a load. We're going to put that on here, test out the PTO and see how that's going. We might haul a little bit more today. We'll see what we get into. But I want to get to 1256. I got to get the disc pulled up and a bunch of other stuff. Get ready for that this week, so once the frost goes out we can start tilling. So I think that'll be a good job for this, so we'll get it fired up and get some tractors switched around. First start for the morning and it popped right off. Didn't even need the choke. Oh, that's good. All right, I'm gonna go start to 12 and let that warm up. Well, there, we made it back. Hauled its first load of manure for us. Probably not the first load of manure in its life, but it did good. The PTO seemed to work good and handled it no problem. I do need to get a temperature gauge for it, I think, though. That the other gauges, the oil pressure and amp meter, they go right up, they work good, but the temperature one didn't come up at all, so I'm guessing that one doesn't work. But you can see it's got some moisture behind the glass. One other thing I noticed, I could hear a little bit of a kind of a squeak noise here, and I noticed this front pulley, if you can hear that, it moves a little bit, and it doesn't seem like the crank is moving. I did see a YouTube video somebody had where there was rivets in that pulley that held it together, and the rivets had loosened up. I'm kind of wondering if that's maybe not what's going on, but so that's probably something that's going to have to be addressed. Hopefully it's nothing serious with the crank, but it seems like the shaft coming out the center, that doesn't move. It seems like it's just the pulley. So maybe some of you guys know what's going on there. Maybe it's common, I'm not sure. But if you got some idea, leave it in the comments. We'll definitely check into it. But anyway, I got the 1256 still running, so I think I'm going to run out and hook onto the disc and get that pulled up, because I got a bearing to change on that. And the cows I see need hay too, so I'm going to get some hay out. So we'll come back once we get the disc up here. Well, we're back again. It's a couple days later. I had some other stuff going on, so I wasn't able to get too far on the disc. But I did get it up here in front of the shop. So this, on one of the wings, this is the bearing that's out. I think this bearing, it looks like it's been replaced, so I'm just going to do this one. There's only two on this wing. I got the nut. When I brought this up here the other day, I got this lock folded up, and I gave this a couple whacks with the hammer, and it seemed like it started to move. So we'll clean the rest of these threads up a little. They got some dirt in there, and see if we can get that off while it's still on the disc, because it's anchored down better. And then, or at least get it pretty loose. Then we'll pull the pins and lift it out of there, and we'll get it disassembled. There. Yeah, that's what I thought. This one's been replaced. Well, there, we got it loose. Takes all that years of dirt and rust and stuff getting in there. It's almost like it's welded on there. I was smart enough, though. I had put anti-seize back on this nut when I put it together. That's been a few years ago now. It's probably what helped that come off. Yeah, it's definitely shot. It's amazing they last as long as they do running down in the dirt all the time. All right, got it out. A little bit of a job, but it wasn't too bad. It's been a long time since I had this apart. I don't exactly remember. I know there's a seal on each end, and then I think this is a big, almost like a double bearing. And I don't remember. I don't know that there's a snap ring in there. I think that just everything pressed together holds it. I don't remember for sure, but we'll pop the seal out because I'll get new seals and everything. So we'll rip the seal out of there and see what's in there. There we go. Oh, there is a ring in there. Okay. I couldn't remember for sure. There we go. Well, that came out. I don't know why it's so dry. This thing gets greased pretty regular, but this one's definitely dry. Of course, the wings don't get greased as much as the main ones because they don't get used as much. A lot of times I just leave the wings up for more weight, but... And if the seal went bad and it gets dirt in there, I think that's a big thing. Once the seals go, which that seal's not very good, I think they dry out a lot faster too. But got a good part number on there, so we'll get the other seal and the other inner race pulled out and get a new bearing. Hey everybody, it's the next day. I got a bearing for that disc ordered, but it's not going to be in until next week. So we got another little project. I got Paul with me. There's a farm down the road I bought a couple of feed tanks from. One's a pretty good sized poly tank. We're not going to get that one today, but there's another smaller little metal cone bottom one. We got the augers the other day, but we're going to take the trailer and see if we can just tip that one down onto the trailer and get that one hauled home. So we will get a little video of that and see how that goes. All right, so here's the tank we're getting. It's just a little one ring little Sioux bin. Like I said, we got the auger the other day. So what we're going to attempt here is to either cut off or I got an impact. I don't know if these will come out. The other one we unbolted, the poly one, the other day. Those had anchors in the concrete. They bolts just snapped off. So I don't know how these will be. We'll try that first if I grab the right socket. But then we're going to see if me and Paul can just get it tipped down onto the trailer. Hopefully that goes okay. I don't think this thing should be too terribly heavy, but I guess we'll find out. If it seems like it's going to be too much, we'll have to come back with the skid loader. But we'll get set up here and get these bolts off and see what happens. Well, I grabbed every socket but the one I needed, so the old cordless grinder took care of them. Just gonna get them knocked loose and we'll see if we can tip her down. Be careful in case them bottom legs want to kick out or something. All right. Well, there we go. That actually went really well. I got to do a little bit of tweaking to the lid there. It looks like this doesn't look like it's got any leaks. A little bit of a dent here, so I suppose that tweaked that a little bit. I don't think that's too big of a deal. Yeah, so we'll get it chained down here and should be able to bring this one home. All right, we got it all loaded, strapped down. I was just looking at this poly cone on here. I'm gonna have to do, which is not a original cone. This is a replacement thing, but I see it does have a little crack here. So we might have to put a cone on here, or maybe we can get some epoxy and seal that back up. I suppose from flexing this thing around, it probably had a spot that was a little brittle. But no big deal. This bin, the main bin that I'm getting is the big poly one. We'll go run back and take a look at that. This one here I was just going to use for probably heifer feed or something like that, but so not too serious on that. I'm not worried about that, but if nothing else, we'll just get a new cone for the bottom. But we'll go look at that other one. All right, so here's the other one we're getting. This was the main one I was after. This is going to replace the one by the barn, our main feed one. This is a heavy built bin. I don't know what brand it is, but this one is a lot heavier built than the poly bin that I have at home now. We got the auger out of this one the other day too, and we got the legs all unhooked. But I mean, me and Paul each grabbed a leg on one end and we can barely tip it up, so it's heavy. But the tricky part with this one is going to be it does not fit between these silos. So it's going to have to go over the roof line there. There's a little bit of a lean-to that they used to feed out of. So I don't know, we're going to have to get some kind of a boom or maybe a telehandler or something in here and try to pick it up from the top and lift it over that roof. So I don't think it's going to be too horrible of a deal, but it's definitely not going to load as easy as the little one did. So just thought I'd show you guys that, and that'll be coming up. That's not going to be in this video. I got to get some other stuff lined up for that, but we're going to hop in the truck and we'll head back home, and hopefully that one stays on the trailer. Well, we're back. Got the tank home. That went good. It's still on the trailer. I'm not going to unload it yet till I figure out exactly where I want to put it. I'm going to probably just bolt some beams, wood beams, onto the legs and not anchor it to the concrete. That's what I've done with my other tanks, and that seems to work about the best, I think. That way, if you ever want to move them, they're easy to move, and I've never had one tip over, so I think that's what we're going to do. But I got to figure out exactly where I want it, so I've got it someplace with electricity. I was going to do a little bit of looking and see, since that cone does have a crack in it, if I could find a different cone. Maybe if I found one that had a slide bottom, you know, because that's all it's not going to be plumbed into the barn, so I wouldn't really need the auger. Then it could go wherever. So I'll do a little more research on that. But if we wind up just patching up this bottom and using the auger, it'll have to go where there's electricity. But we'll save that for another day. That's not a huge hurry. I just wanted to get it out of that place, get it out of their way, and stuff like that, get it home. And the next one over there, like I said, will be that big poly tank, and that poly seems to be a lot thicker than the poly that's on this cone, and I checked that one over pretty good, and it doesn't seem like it's weathered at all. So I think it's just a lot better plastic. It seems way thicker, so I don't think we'll have any issue with that one. But I'm gonna end this video at the old Oliver here. Since it's a few days after I started this video, I've learned a few things about this, so I wanted to touch on that. I've been kind of communicating with Ross the Oliver Man. If you're not familiar with his channel, check him out. I'm sure a lot of you are. If you're interested in Olivers, I'm sure you've heard of him. But he goes through and he has a ton of these old Olivers and farms with Olivers, and really knows a lot about them. So I wound up looking through the hole in the front where the crank start would go, and my suspicions about the pulley are right. It looks like somebody has welded the rivets at one time. I'm sure they came loose, but now you can see it's starting to crack all the way around. And I was talking with Ross about that, and he said the one that he's working on actually was exactly the same situation. So just gonna have to find a different pulley, find a good one, and get that switched out. And then my suspicions about this being a diesel, originally, because of the D at the end of the serial number that I found, And with the exhaust hole over from here, I don't think is true. According to what he told me, and some of the other commenters said the same thing. The reason that this hole is offset is because the original muffler was under the hood, and the way they explained it is it was kind of sat like this, so the diesel and gas came out in the same spot. So this was just because the original muffler was, and then a lot of people did this to just put a regular muffler on. I have to say they didn't really do the best job, but maybe we can clean that up a little bit in the future. And the D that was in the serial number, that was just Ross said that was, I think, some kind of a code for the transmission. So this probably is the correct engine yet. So not that it really mattered to me, but it is kind of nice to know that this is probably the original engine. He did say about the only way to tell if it originally was a diesel was that one side of this frame, and I can't remember what side he said, but one side would be thicker than the other. Nobody seems to know why, but he said the diesels were like that and the gas weren't. And I would have to say that these look like they're the same. So I don't think this was a diesel. And another thing, that I was actually watching his video on a seat that he was showing on his, and he was talking about most of these had roll pins here, but the one that he had just picked up had these nuts on it, and that was the only kind like that he had ever seen. And then I had actually messaged him saying that the one I just bought had those as well. So I had thought about buying a replacement whole seat assembly, but after hearing that, I think I'm just going to buy the kit and rebuild it. I had actually, a few of you had mentioned that I believe it's Corvus implement, I think, and they have all kinds of all of their stuff. They have a whole replacement seat assembly or all the parts to rebuild this. So I think I'm going to just rebuild it and try to keep it original, since this could be kind of a rare setup. Get new rubbers, new arms. I might even replace these shackles because they're worn back and forth so far. But yeah, that'll be in the future. I want to get that crank pulley fixed first, because I don't really want to use it until that's fixed, because I don't want that coming apart and flying out of there. And if I got I'm assuming the radiator has to come out to do that, so I figured I might as well put a water pump in it as long as I'm in there. There does seem to maybe be a hair bit of play. It actually looks like that pump has been replaced maybe, but I don't know. I'll look at that a little closer, but since I'm in there, it's probably not a bad thing to do. So anyway, we'll wrap this video up. I want to thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. God bless, and we'll see you in the next one.